direct attention to solid minerals. And that's why a vibrant, energetic, and passionate minister, like my principal, Mr. Dele Alake, was appointed as Minister of Solid Minerals. And since then, he has done tremendously well to redirect not only local attention, but global attention to Nigeria's mining sector. You know, we go abroad to mining conferences and people say, you know, investors, mining stakeholders, they are like, they don't know Nigeria is solid on solid minerals. They don't know we have a preponderance of solid minerals in Nigeria. They know about oil and gas. So, you know, we hit the ground running with the 7-point agenda that is repositioning and has reformed the sector. You mentioned illegal mining in your intro, and today we have a dedicated security architecture, so to speak, for the mining sector. Quite unprecedented too. The mining marshals, you know, we have an online platform called the Decision Support System to guide investors that are not even in Nigeria, you know, from the touch of their button online, a web-based application. They can access information about Nigeria's mining sector, about the geochemical surveys and all that, and mineral occurrences and all that. You know, we also revise community development agreements as part of, you know, the efforts, you know, to ensure that host communities are not shortchanged. You know, mining companies are now required to have their consent from host communities as a prerequisite to obtaining mining licenses. There's also the digitized mining process.
So how easy is it to get these licenses for anybody who wants to get into that business? Is it a walk in the park wherein there are no bottlenecks? If you have the right documentation,
absolutely,
you can easily, you know, get this.
Yeah, for instance, we have it's even digitized through the electromagnetic through the electronic mining cadastral plus EMC plus. That's a platform in which you can apply. So largely most of the processes before, it was paper based and all that, but largely it has been digitized. You know, anybody that wants to apply can go to nigeriaminingcadastra.gov.ng/e like small letter EMC to apply. You know, so, you know, if you have your documents, if you have, of course, their criteria, their everything, if you have everything, you can apply. So, but like you should know, just like oil and gas is a very technical sector. You need to have the technical expertise. If you don't have the technical expertise, you can enter a JV, a joint venture, get a private sector investor or somebody, a mining stakeholder to partner with and all that. So yeah, I think it's pretty easy and digital to apply for.
Now let's get right into a jump in the revenue getting from that particular sector, and you know, comparing it to 2023 and 24, it's a huge difference. You know, I think it's over 30 billion naira difference between those 2 years.
Absolutely.
In focus right here. What key reforms would you say was undertaking to achieve that, and how has it been maintained, you know, since then until now?
Okay, yeah. So I said initially that, you know, the 7-point agenda, you know, and efforts to reposition has attracted a lot of Nigerians. So I feel Nigerians and foreign investors. So aside from that, there's also been incentives for investment. For instance, as an investor, you could once you indicate interest to mine, or you have a mining license, you get tax waivers on imported mining equipment. There's also the policy of full repatriation of profits to your home countries. That's for a foreign investor. So policies like that has attracted investors, you know, and we have a more secured mining environment. We also revoked. There's also been some reforms in terms of the licensing regime, like revocation of mining licenses. When we came in, I think around November 2023, 1,633 mining licenses were revoked for default in annual service fees. Then some months after, we had another revocation of 924 mining licenses, dormant mining licenses. Because what we found out was, before we came in, a lot of people acquire mining licenses for speculations. They don't do anything. They don't go to site. They don't do everything. So, you know, so by the revocation and what we've done so far to reposition the mining environment, that has attracted more investments, more investors, and our efforts so far, not only in Nigeria, across the world, has attracted a lot of investors, and that's why we are saying it. Another thing we've done is, is to synergize with subnationals. My minister introduced, Mr. Alake introduced what you call cooperative federalism, in which we encourage states to acquire mining licenses and operate as a limited liability company with, JV with foreign investors, private sector, and all that. And a lot of states are embracing that. We see Nasarawa, for instance. I think we have about 3 lithium plants in Nasarawa. The third one is ready, $600 million, will be commissioned soon. We have another lithium plant that is ready, awaiting commissioning, most likely in April, $200 million. We have a gold refinery that sprang up in Lagos. We have 3 others across the country that are at different stages of completion. So, So what we've done so far is to create the enabling environment for investments to thrive, drive the sector, drive attention to the sector, and that's what has led to the increase in our revenue figures, not only for 2025, not only for 2024, 2025, we inched closer. It was about 70 billion in 2025, and we can only get higher in 2026.
Now, let's get into the investments which you mentioned. And Nigeria reportedly recorded or secured, rather, over 800 million in mineral processing investments, particularly in lithium processing. How critical is local processing to Nigeria's industrial ambitions?
Very critical, because one of our cardinal objectives and a part of the 7-point agenda is a local value addition, which was championed by my minister. Itodo, what we had was what we call pit to port. People just mine and take our raw minerals, abroad, to the port and just export. So when we came in, we said, enough is enough. That has to stop, because we're not only losing revenue, we're losing, gainful employment that should come to our teaming youth. We are losing industrialization, and that's why I agree with your team, and that's how solid minerals can contribute to the industrial future. So we said no more even application for mining licenses without adding your plans for some form of processing or value addition, and that's what we are doing. So now, if you want to apply for mining licenses, you have to tell us what you want to do, how you want to process, how you want to do some refining before you take it abroad. Because Itodo, we see that before we came in, people would declare, for instance, that what they mined was lithium, and we now found out that they could say they saw only lithium, and you have a consortium of other minerals embedded with that lithium. You could see nickel, you could see cobalt and all that, and they go abroad and they make a kill because they only declared lithium in Nigeria. So if you have to refine, we'll get to know everything that is there.
So how do you follow through to ensure that whatever is being declared is what is gutting, and there are no hidden?
We have mines inspector. We have a mines inspectorate department.
Okay.
That has state officers, state mining officer. We even had a meeting with them. On Friday. The minister met them on Friday. So they do all this monitoring. We also have mines environmental compliance department for the environment part. To ensure compliance with environment and all that. And there are also sanctions for those that default and all that. So it's a work in progress, because is a sector that has been dormant for decades. So 2.5 years will not be enough to totally turn around the sector. But what we've been able to do is to ensure that everybody knows in the sector that it's no longer business as usual. And it's a work in progress.
Now, you mentioned the host communities, and it's something I'd like to take you back on to understand how they're benefiting from all of this. Because sometimes, in time past, the worry is they bear the brunt of these mining situations. Like we've heard various reports of persons even losing their lives and not being able to benefit from whatever is getting from these communities. How are you ensuring that these investors and those who are mining are not taking advantage of these particular communities beyond whatever documentations have been signed?
And that's why I mentioned earlier that we signed that there's a revised community development agreement which mandates the operator to sign with host communities, and those that signed the consent for the host communities, consent for the operators, are mostly traditional institutions, traditional rulers, people, leaders of thought in that community. So we are also engaging, and that's why I said we're partnering with the state government, also traditional institutions. On Friday, just this Friday, the Olubadan of Ibadan land was with the minister, as part of our efforts to engage, traditional rulers to get their inputs to ensure that the interests of communities across the country are protected. So there's also the MIREMCO. The MIREMCO is the Minerals Environmental Management Committee, which is domiciled in the states. The chairman, and at least 5 members are appointed by the states. Is a 10-member committee, which also is supposed to be a liaison between the states, communities, and the federal government. They are supposed to also monitor what is happening at the local level, whether their compliance by what mining companies said they would do. So in cases in which they are not compliant, their reports are also sent to us for necessary action. So those are part of the ways that we monitor to ensure that communities are not shortchanged. We also get reports. We also urge Nigerians to also send us reports, because we can't be everywhere. The federal government is in Abuja, so in situations in which all these community committees and measures we put in place fail, they can also reach us directly in Abuja, through our website, which we have, our email and all that.
All right. You can join the conversation. We're streaming live on YouTube and Facebook at Nigeria Info Abuja. You can also send whatever questions that you have to the WhatsApp number 080-9993-0137. Do all to include your name and your location where you do. We're looking at if solid minerals can shape Nigeria's industrial future. We're joined this morning, and we've been speaking with Segun Tomori. He is the Special Assistant and Media to the Honorable Minister of Solid Minerals Development. We'll go on a quick break. When we come back, we'll get to your reactions and move on with this conversation. Do well to stay tuned.
This is Morning Crossfire.
Audio Jungle.
Tuned 8:26 a.m. right here. We are looking at the solid minerals sector at this point in time to understand what progress has been made in the last few years. And so far, we understand the significant milestones achieved in the past 2 years, how revenue has been increased, what has been done in terms of improving licensing and foreign investment, and pretty much efforts being made to tighten the licensing systems and strengthen regulations. We'll move on to more thoughts in a bit, but we'll get to the phone lines and get to hear from you. 0700 951 0000. 08095974869. Once you get through on the phone lines, please go straight to your thoughts. You would have 45 seconds, so I hope that you use it good enough. Welcome.
Chief Itodo, good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Master Destiny Anthony.
Welcome, sir.
And, good morning to our guests in the house.
Good morning.
Thank you. I heard what our guest said. Well, he spoke well, but this is my challenge. We are talking about a lot of solid minerals in the north. The gold that is being mined in Zamfara is Ministry of Solid Minerals are aware of how these Chinese people are exploiting us. Because I really haven't had so much in that regard. These people come in, you have illegal licenses. Even when the state says don't mine again, you still have them around there. They are still mining. Moving out with solid minerals, moving out with a lot of resources. It doesn't make sense. And then the revenue has increased. I don't think the revenue has increased because if not, the way government is going about their finances as well, there's nothing much to speak about them.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome, sir.
My name is Adiola Victor from Gitalaji.
Go ahead.
I want to ask your guest, considering what happened in Plateau recently, where some illegal miners died in one mining site. So, what is your ministry doing to prevent such occurrence again? And do you think the government is seriously on this mining sector, considering the money they are getting from crude oil? Because to me, it seems they are not paying much attention to mining sector compared to the oil sector. Thank you.
All right, sir. Thank you very much. So one final call, and then we'll have our guests respond to your concerns. Good morning. I can barely hear you. Your connection is a bit wonky. Can you readjust where you are so we can see if that helps?
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. Welcome.
Hello. Good morning. My name is Philip. I'm a first-time caller.
Welcome, Philip. Please go ahead.
Please, I really appreciate your guest on the topic. I'm calling specifically because just make certain things clear. The mining sector I'm a geologist by training. The mining sector is undoubtedly a very good sector that could generate a lot of revenue to the country. However, there are a lot of instances that he was mistaking mining license, exploration license, quarry license, and all of that. So you might have a mineral title, but it's not mining license. So a mining license is like the highest part of the mineral title.
Okay.
What I mean is that you have an exploration license, but it doesn't allow you to do a mining. So please, when you are saying mining license, they are supposed to be mineral title, not mining license.
Right. Thank you very much, Philip, for sharing your thoughts. So I have your response to some of the concerns that have been raised so far. As he spoke about what's happening with illegal mining in Zamfara. Adela mentioned Plateau, those who died, and now he's come out to, ask for clarification regarding, more like speak on exploration and mining license and the reservations of both. So if you want to respond to those, please.
Zamfara, I think almost everyone knows that Zamfara it has a high security problem that is actually beyond the ministry and is being handled at the highest level. Over the past almost 3 years, we've seen bandit commanders that have been taken out by coordinated security operations, Air Force, military, and all that. And it's an ongoing operation. But the problem of Zamfara and some other hotbeds of banditry and terrorism is that we have civilians embedded in those localities. And you cannot just send the military and say wipe out the community because you want to mine. So the situation is being handled at the highest level. I know that there are a lot of efforts to rejig the security architecture. The president is passionate about state police, which we believe is also needed to be embedded because Nigeria has a vast landmass. I speak to people, and people say in one state, for instance, like Niger State, you could travel for 4 hours within a state. Someone was telling me last 2 weeks that in Kwara, from one place to another, I think Kiama to Ilorin is like 7 hours, if I'm not mistaken. So we have a vast landmass, and our security agencies are overstretched. So this Zamfara and other places that are, critical hotbeds, that we have a preponderance of very high insecurity problems, because these people have sophisticated weapons. We can't move our mining marshals, for instance, and say they want to take over Zamfara.
What exactly do these mining marshals do? Because the belief is that they were commissioned to fight against illegal mining.
Yes, they are. They are, like enforcement of the laws and everything. But what they do is, enforce areas that are not that high risk, like Zamfara.
Okay.
You understand? And they've recovered so far 98 illegal mining sites across the country, I think spread across 11 states and the FCT. In just 1 year, over 1 year of their existence, they've arrested over 300 illegal miners. Over 150 are being prosecuted. So they've done a lot. But what we are saying is, in a situation like Zamfara, has to be, there has to be a clearance operation at the top. Like the military has to stabilize the place before you now deploy an outfit like the mining marshals. Do you understand? And what we are doing is also to complement the efforts of the mining marshals with satellite surveillance of all mining sites, which will also help us. That is already ongoing. It should be ready this year, and everybody will be notified to be commissioned. So, yeah. So on Zamfara, it's been handled at the highest level.
Let's get to Plateau and get the updates on that. The concerns around those who lost their lives.
So we issued a statement on Plateau. The minister dispatched the permanent secretary, for a fact-finding mission. There's a committee working. So I won't be able to give you until they submit their report.
Okay.
What we learned as a preliminary report was, gaseous emissions from mining. A certain mining company leased out a part of its mining area, to some community people that were agitating and all that. And gaseous emissions erupted there, and that led to the deaths, which were unfortunate, and which we also commiserated with the state government. So, but the committee is working, and once they submit their report, we'll let Nigerians know. And from the report, steps were taken to prevent a recurrence.
And now the exploration and the mining license.
Yeah, so my guy was trying to preach geology here. When you say mineral titles, we know it is mineral titles, but just for people to know, that's why we just use mining licenses in quotes. Of course, there are different types of mineral titles. You have the exploration license, you have the mining license, you have the small scale mining license. So the mining lease is the highest, like you said. So, but for an engagement like this, we just say mining licenses, so people just understand that we're talking about the whole gamut of all the mineral titles.
Now, is it realistic to expect that solid minerals would become a major pillar of Nigeria's industrial economy with some of the things that you're currently doing?
Absolutely.
Do you see a future of that happening?
Absolutely. Just yesterday, on a Sunday, we were at work. We signed a record-breaking deal yesterday, a $1.3 billion alumina deal with African Finance Corporation. I think is all over the news today, and all that, which would lead to the establishment of an aluminium refinery. There'll also be, vast exploration and big data generation. There'll also be the establishment of an investment vehicle to drive that process. So it's going to be phenomenal. A lot of things are cooking. And that alone is even transformational, because in partnership with the Solid Minerals Corporation, the agreement was signed on behalf of the federal government by the Solid Minerals Development Fund, which is the SMDF, which is an agency under our ministry.
Okay.
So it's also phenomenal. And, the gains from that investment agreement, because it's not an MOU, it's an investment agreement, it's going to be phenomenal. It's going to change the landscape of the mining sector. It's going to be help us to get the big data that we actually need, to attract big players. So a lot is happening, and we believe that Solid Minerals is poised to contribute substantially to Nigeria's gross domestic product. Also, I forgot to mention that we've established the Nigeria Solid Minerals Company, headed by Mantis Imonite, which is also a signature part of my minister's 7-point agenda. The Nigeria Solid Minerals Company will be a special purpose vehicle for the mining sector. Nigerians, even you, Itodo, can acquire equity in that company because 25% for Nigerians, 50% for consortium of private sector, then 25% for government.
For those who are interested in doing that,
Yes.
so how's the process like?
Of course, would announce.
Okay.
Yes, I'm just telling you. So they're still putting in place the structures and everything. So and it will be public knowledge on how you can do that.
All right. Now let's get to the WhatsApp platform. Take a few more concerns or contributions that you can respond to. We need to wrap things up in a short time from now, but let's hear from you first. Good morning, welcome.
Hello, good morning, Mr. Itodo. My name is Jamilu Utako. I want to make use of this opportunity to welcome your guests. What I want our guests to answer is that, like in the Plateau and Nasarawa and Zamfara and some other area where we have mineral resources, is there any effort of the government and the Ministry of Mining to make sure that as we are having 15 or 14% or 13% derivation to oil producing state, is there any provision of the mining producing state that will benefit from government? And if there is any plan, what are the plans and how are they going to make sure that the real indigenous and the people on the ground benefit the money? Thank you very much. That is my take.
All right, thank you, Jamilu, for sharing your thoughts. And this one right here from Arch says the guest is saying a lot of right words, but we all know that the bureaucratic bottlenecks could be the reason, or is the reason, why the sector has been literally abandoned for years. As long as this sector doesn't embrace the technology, a lot of profit will be lost in translation. If you ask the average Nigerian how many solid minerals we have, I'm sure they are oblivious to it. The sector needs to educate the average Nigerian. Well, it's the reason why we are having this conversation right here, to do just that. Large number of mining activities in Nigeria are illegal, as seen in the case of the Chinese. A report having that 12,000 illegal miners in Nigeria. And my question is that what is the federal government doing regarding illegal mining activities? I hope that those who are mining in Zamfara State have their licenses, because we are told about the insecurity has been a result of that. What is being done? I believe you responded to a part of this question earlier, but let's get to what Jamilu shared, as well as the bottlenecks referenced by Ash in his contribution.
Okay, about what indigenes are benefiting.
Yes.
Okay, so solid minerals, just like any other sector, pays the revenue to the federation account that we get. So all the monies we generate goes to the federation account, and it's shared through the Federal Allocation Commission that has, finance commissioners and the Minister of Finance. They share it to states and the local government. So the revenue are shared to the states, federal, and local governments. So, but in the future, that's why people have representatives. They could decide to tell their representatives that they want derivation, just like we have for oil producing states, but we don't have that in the constitution or the statutes yet. So, but maybe mining states with mining quite substantial mining concentration can make that case in the National Assembly, and that's why they should elect. They should put their eyes on the election to elect the right representatives that can give them that.
All right, so we have about 60 seconds to wrap this up, and I'll have you, give your closing thoughts and respond to this question, which is our question for the day. And it is about if solid minerals can shape Nigeria's industrial future.
Okay.
And what we should expect if that were to happen. What should be the outlook, the expectations of the average Nigerian?
Okay. I think the expectation of the average Nigerian should be jobs. Because when we are able to industrialize using solid minerals, there should be more jobs. There should be, because all this, and that's why we are insistent on value addition, to be able to ensure that, we not only industrialize, but the benefits percolate to the citizenry through jobs, through revenue, through development at the grassroots. So they should expect that as we get more companies, more foreign investors into the sector, development, jobs, and more revenue. And 2026 is poised to be more substantial in that regard.
All right, Segun Tomori, Special Assistant in Media to the Honorable Minister of Solid Minerals Development. Thank you so much for your time this morning. I wish you had more time so you can touch on other things, but we'll have you back here again sometime and get to follow up on what you're doing right there. Do all the stay tuned. So much more coming up for you. Good morning.
This is Morning Crossfire. It's all talk and more talk on Nigerian's #1 talk station.
This country needs a marshal, needs a sheriff.
In some particular societies, especially in my tradition, a woman is not allowed to inherit land.
Issues that get your attention.
This thing has been a carryover for the time of Jonathan.
Yeah.
And they continue this billions.
Your views against all odds.
My word is that why those pastors, why are they not following up their job? Like
The intense conversation.
It has to be given to her now based on sentiment. These are some of the challenges that women go through on a daily basis.
Okay, bro.
And that is
All and more on Nigeria Info. Let's talk.
Did you know?
Did you know?
Did you know?